Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Football Betting Series here on YouTube Premier League Edition. We're doing alright in the month of February, 7 wins, 2 losses and a push to our name, and a monthly profit of £70.95. But we add that to the overall record, we're standing at 76 wins, 28 losses and 8 pushes, and a series profit of £786.68. I've got 3 picks in today's episode, so if you think I'm talking some sense, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. Without further ado, let's get into it. Our first pick sees 3rd place Aston Villa playing host to 15th place Leeds United, and Aston Villa, they managed to pick up a win in their last match against Brighton. The sides were separated by Jack Hinchelwood's own goal in the 86th minute, and stat-wise, it wasn't a great game to watch by any stretch of the imagination. Aston Villa's 0.72 XG did outclass Brighton, but they can count themselves lucky to have picked up a win in this one, courtesy of the own goal. In terms of form, it's now 1 win, 1 draw and 1 defeat for Aston Villa in their last 3. And when we take a look at the home form, they have also won just 1 of their last 3 games. Despite this, Aston Villa do have one of the better home records in the division, 9 wins from 13 at Villa Park this season. They host a Leeds side who showed great resilience to battle back from a 2-goal deficit in their last match against Chelsea. João Pedro opened the scoring after 24 minutes before Palmer doubled the lead in the 58th minute from the penalty spot. But Leeds would reduce the deficit to 1 goal thanks to Nemetcha's penalty in the 67th minute, before Noah Okafor levelled the scores just 6 minutes later, securing their well-earned point. In terms of form, as with their hosts, Leeds' recent form is also 1 win, 1 draw and 1 defeat over the last 3 Premier League matches. However, in sharp contrast to Aston Villa, Leeds' away form is very poor. A single win on the road to this point of the season has their away record ranked 18th in the division. When we take a look at the head-to-head record, we can see that Aston Villa managed to pick up a win in the reverse fixture. Nemetcha opened the scoring after just 8 minutes, but it was a Morgan Rogers second half brace that would see the Villains come back to win 2-1. Stats-wise, Leeds may feel hard done by, as they gave a solid account of themselves in this one. They even edged Aston Villa in big chances and the XG stat. Longer term, that win made it back-to-back victories for Villa over Leeds. They're also unbeaten in the last 6 Premier League encounters. My prediction for today's game is that Villa may be in an inconsistent run right now, but their home record overall is very strong. Additionally, they seem to have gotten better of Leeds in recent seasons, and Leeds are very poor on the road this year. So all of that taken into account, I'm going to back Aston Villa to win here, but just for a half stake in bet number 1. Our second pick sees 18th place West Ham playing host to 9th place Bournemouth, and West Ham, they picked up a point in their last match against Manchester United. After a goalless first half, Thomas Souček opened the scoring early in the second, and just when it looked like the Hammers would scoop all 3 points up, Benjamin Sesko popped up with an equaliser in the 96th minute for a 1-1 final score. In terms of form, that point for West Ham means it's 1 win, 1 draw and 1 defeat in the last 3. When we take a look at their home form, their record is identical, with 1 win, 1 draw and 1 defeat in their last 3. If the Irons can keep up this record of 4 points from every 3 games between now until the end of the season, I'm sure they're going to avoid the drop. They host a Bournemouth side who came back from a goal down in their last match to take all 3 points from Everton. Illiman and Dye scored a penalty just before half-time, but in the second period, the Cherries would score twice in quick succession thanks to Ryan and Adil in the 61st and 64th minute for a 2-1 final scoreline. In terms of form, that win added to a 6-game unbeaten streak in the Premier League for Bournemouth, a recent run which has put the Cherries within striking distance of Europe. In terms of away form, the Cherries are unbeaten in their last 4 matches on the road. When we take a look at the head-to-head record, we can see that the last encounter took place in late November at the Vitality. West Ham made a fast start, with Callum Wilson bagging a brace within 35 minutes, but the half-time break really did scupper their momentum. The second 45 did belong to Bournemouth, who battled back thanks to Marcus Tavernier's penalty in the 69th minute, before Enes Unal levelled the affair in the final 10 minutes, with the final score finishing 2-2. When we take a look at the second half stats, we can see that perhaps West Ham were fortunate to escape this match with a point. They offered absolutely nothing after half-time and allowed Bournemouth to get off 21 efforts for a combined XG of 3.49. Longer term, that result continued a run of 5 draws in a row in the Premier League between these 2 sides. My prediction for today's game is that whilst the draw seems to be the way of things in recent encounters, it's a personal preference of mine that I really never back the draw. That could just be my issue, and if you see fit and fancy the draw, I'd encourage you to go ahead. Instead, what I'm looking for is the scoring nature of these draws, and I fancy both teams to score. West Ham have seen both teams to score in 5 of their last 6 Premier League matches, and when we take a look at their home form, this result has come in each of the last 4 games at the London Stadium. Whereas Bournemouth, they've seen both teams to score in 9 of their last 10 Premier League games, and on the road, this record stands at 6 of the last 7 matches. Finally, when we take a look at the head-to-head record, each of the last 5 Premier League encounters have seen both teams to score, and that does include 2 games played at the London Stadium. All of this taken into account leads me to back both teams to score for a full stake here in bet number 2. Our third and final pick of today's episode is probably the biggest game of the weekend. It's the North London derby as 16th place Tottenham Hotspurs play top of the table Arsenal. Now Spurs, they lost once again in their last match at the hands of Newcastle. Thiaw got a goal just before half-time, and that was a real gut punch for the Lily Whites, but Archie Gray did manage to get them back into the game just after the hour mark. However, Spurs showed a real lack of resilience as not 4 minutes later, Jacob Ramsey would put the Magpies ahead once more, a lead that they would not surrender for the second time with the 2-1 final score. In terms of form, that result means it's back-to-back defeats for Spurs. They've also not won in their last 8 Premier League games. After a run this poor, it's perhaps not too much of a shock to see that Thomas Frank was sacked by Spurs, as they are sitting just 5 points clear of the drop at time of recording. They host an Arsenal side who were held to a draw against Brentford in their last match. Madueke opened the scoring in the second half, but the Bees found an equaliser just 10 minutes later to secure the 1-1 draw. Stats-wise, Arsenal really struggled in this game, against a Brentford side who went toe-to-toe with them when it came to set pieces. Perhaps the ex-set-piece coach Keith Andrews has found a way to get the better of the Gunners from dead ball situations. In terms of form, that draw did halt a 2-game winning streak for Arsenal, although the Gunners are unbeaten in their last 3 Premier League games. On the road, Arsenal are unbeaten in their last 5 matches, winning 3 of these games. When we take a look at the head-to-head record, the reverse fixture between these sides took place on Matchday 12, and it saw Arsenal dominate proceedings. Trossard opened the scoring just after half an hour, before an Eze hat-trick put the game to bed. Richarlison did get 1 goal in reply, but in truth it was a one-sided affair, with Arsenal running out 4-1 victors. Number-wise, the stats do really reflect Arsenal's superiority in the game, but an XG of just 1.96 does suggest that perhaps 4 goals did flatter them slightly. Longer term, that win made it 4 matches in a row for Arsenal over their North London rival. My prediction for today's game is a fairly simple pick. Arsenal have also picked up the odd draw in recent weeks, but I don't think Spurs will put up much of a fight here. I'm expecting Arsenal to go all out for the win here as they look to secure their first Premier League title in over 2 decades. Arsenal to win here for a full stake in bet number 3. So there we have it, 3 picks in today's episode, starting off with Aston Villa versus Leeds. I'm going to back the Villains at odds of 1.84, a £25 half stake to return 21. Also on the Saturday we have West Ham Bournemouth. I fancy both teams to score at odds of 1.54, a £50 full stake to return 27. And rounding up the episode on the Sunday, Spurs versus Arsenal, I'm going to be backing the Gunners at odds of 1.58, a £50 full stake to return 29. So across the weekend we're going to be risking £125 to hopefully try and pick up as much as 77 in return. Will we do so? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's to tune into the next episode. But if you've made it to this point in the video, please drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more content. Don't forget to check out the continental picks in the pinned comment down below. And as always, have yourself a lovely day.